3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. If you like the things I talk about in these podcasts each week, do consider becoming a member of my inner circle at www.michaelneill.org. Now today, what I want to speak about is one of the fundamental questions in life. You can find versions of this question in every spiritual tradition I've come across. And in a lot of them, by the time you get to the question, they're giving you the answer. But I think it's the question itself that's worth spending time with. And the question is, who am I? I remember the first time I read a book that told me to ask that question. It was a book about Ramana Maharshi, the sage of Arunkala. And in the book, the question that he would continually encourage his followers to ask themselves is, who am I? And I remember I was new to spiritual exploration, and I sort of just took it literally, went, okay. And I was I'd bought the book in Watkins Bookshop in the center of London, one of the oldest metaphysical, occult, new age, spiritual, everything, mishmash bookshops. And I walked into Leicester Square, which is one of the busiest squares in London. And I just started asking myself, who am I? And a bunch of answers came that were like, well, I'm Michael, and I'm this, and I'm that. And then a question occurred to me, well, like, who's asking and who's answering? And at a certain point, it just went quiet in my mind. Now, when I say quiet, I don't mean like I ran out of answers. I mean the kind of quiet that the universe is made of. And I noticed that I was standing in the middle of one of the busiest human traffic sites, not human trafficking, just human traffic sites I'd ever seen. And yet it was completely still and quiet. And it was one of my first experiences of home, of what we talk about in these podcasts and in my work as our natural home. The quiet mind and beautiful feeling that's at the heart of who we are. And it didn't last long. It probably lasted a couple of seconds before my little brain kicked in and started going, oh my God, what's happening? Am I having a spiritual experience? Is this what the book says? I got to do this more often. I got to remember to ask myself, who am I? And it all fell apart. But I touched something real in that moment. And that question, there are times where I sort of almost ask it tactically to try and get myself back to that place. But every now and again, it becomes a real question again. Like just a genuinely curious question. Who am I? Who are you? Not what's your name, not what's your personal history. Who is it that has a name? Who is it that has a personal history? And while I am more interested in the question than the answer that to me is most resonant in this moment is, I'm the perfection of life in form. Now, I don't mean I am and you're not. I mean we are. The perfection of life, the unfolding of life in human form. And the question becomes, if that's really who we are, why don't we experience ourselves that way? Now, funnily enough, that question I found easier to answer because I know the answer to that. It's because we think and we experience thought. So imagine, I don't know what the name for the machines, I guess one-armed bandits, where you put in the coin and you pull the lever and there's usually three spinny things, and if you get three of a kind, three cherries, you win some money, and if you get $3 you win a lot of money. And so imagine one of those, and on the ones that I used to play in London, if you pressed a button, you could hold. So like if you had $2 and you wanted to go for the third $, you'd press hold on the first two. So imagine that you're doing that machine, and the first two that come up are I am. And you hold those. Those are constant now. So no matter how many times you pull the lever, it's always going to begin with I am. And that is, in fact, in most spiritual traditions, the name of God, the name of the divine, the name of the self with a capital S, the I am. And then you pull the lever and whatever comes up is a thought. I am happy, I am sad. It's a feeling. Feelings are thoughts. Thoughts are feelings. I am strong, I am weak. Those are characteristics, but those are characteristics made of thought. There is no strong and weak until we create them in our mind. And whatever follows I am is made of thought. So you are the perfection of life thinking. And sometimes you're the perfection of life thinking you're a piece of crap. Sometimes you're the perfection of life thinking about all your problems and feeling that thinking. Sometimes you're the perfection of life sitting quietly, experiencing yourself as the perfection of life. Sometimes you're the perfection of life having an argument with your partner. Sometimes you're the perfection of life connecting deeply with the perfection of life in another form. A person, a pet, a tree. But your experiment for the week is just to take this as a working premise. Imagine that you are the perfection of life, and that any experience you have other than being the perfection of life is just an experience of the perfection of life thinking. So right now, I am the perfection of life speaking to you. And you are the perfection of life listening and thinking whatever you're thinking. And just give yourself the gift of that experiment and see what you see about who you really are and what it is to be the perfection of life. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk to you next week.